John, good morning, good afternoon.
Good morning, afternoon, whatever time it is out there.
Before we started, you made the right comment, which is this looks like something out of Severance, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's an amazing set. It's timeless, and this is a new project. I wanted it to be seen as taken seriously for a start, but and yeah, like I say, timeless. So.
One of the things that really struck me was that you like a challenge, and if someone says, don't do that, or you can't do that, that you tend to push against it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think there's many things within a mindset of doing this job that are constructive and they go against what makes it easy. And I think for me, disruptive is the word. I grew up in the middle of nowhere in the North Yorkshire Dales. Spent a lot of time in a shed building random contraptions like go-karts and things like that. I've always been very hands-on creative and spent a lot of time alone. And I think I was disruptive in school, so I spent a lot of time alone there. And I think what that did was created that mindset, which was I can do anything I want that I put my mind to and I won't be stopped.
I'd rather you say the quote that I did, but an A&R basically said to you very early on, and you were signed when you were like 20. It was like, do you want to be pop or what was the, you probably remember it exactly.
Yeah. He said, are you cool or are you pop?
And did your inside rage at that?
My inside rage is at every comment. No. Yeah, that is the beautiful thing about making music. Making it, the most terrifying thing is the next bit, releasing it or waiting to play it to people. But yeah, if we look at what I just said there about the idea of somebody putting a boundary around me or just holding me in a certain place, I generally struggle with that. And it comes into genre, it comes into how I create, when I create. Everything, if I feel boundaried, I feel uncomfortable. And I think there's more complexities to it, where it's like, the reason this is said is so that somebody can digest it a lot easier when it's quite hectic in an artist's mind. But yeah, for me, it's, I'm like, I'm everything, or I'm nothing, or I'm whatever. I'm wherever the wind takes me, you know.
I mean, essentially, it was that A&R line was about how do we market you to the public.
Yeah.
When you were signed, which was around the age of 20, that was a slightly different time where your music was selling on CD.
Yeah. Glory days. Yeah.
So do you have any sympathy with someone who back then would have basically been trying to make you sell the most amount of records?
Oh, completely. I think that's why I'm in such a good position in my mindset now, is that I have a better understanding. I don't let the character in me that is the character that won't be held in a bracket and that does whatever he wants to do and strives forward. And, you know, I know that who that character is. He's the kid that got bullied. He's the kid that went through that rougher upbringing, defiantly pushing forward and using everything as fuel. He's almost searching for something to be offended by. And I think I only ever learned life in that way previous to this. So when I came into music, maybe I was looking for an enemy. I was looking for the industry to be bigger and more against me, so that in that pond it felt like I could strive out of it again. But the reality is that I was coming into such a high level that there was nowhere further to go, kind of in that way. So I think after years and the ups and downs and the waves and the rise and falls, that I've learned that, yeah, you need everybody. And I think everyone is only trying to they're just trying to put food on the table as well. Everyone's only trying to do their best. And it's really important to listen to everyone as well. And I think I've learned that over time. And that's why I'm in a really good position now, that I can work way better with people. I can listen to other people's ideas and take it in and breathe on it and take a minute, instead of just being like, no. Obviously that character still exists, or I wouldn't be able to still do this job. Like, you need a bit of that in you. But
well, I guess you had a lot of early success, and those physical sales which drove those successes, you know, happened very early. But I guess now there's less pressure around this stuff because it's a different time and a different team, or is it a different kind of pressure?
Pressure. I think when you come from where I do and the financial upbringing that we had, I think when the money comes into it at first, it's wonderful. And it takes all that pressure off. And I think you've got to be really careful what you do when, for the first time in my life, I had no pressure on me. And personally, if I'm speaking, I went slightly rogue. I spent a lot of money at the record label on the second record, went out to LA, lived that lifestyle, and was completely loving life and making music. But I lost the pressurized calculation or the commerciality of it, and I know that now, and that's fine. And we learned from that. So that's a hit, as in negative ways. You take the hit of that and you're like, oh, it's all falling apart and this is the end, and I'm gonna have to go and eat monkey bollocks on an Australian TV show now or whatever to keep this going. But I think if you sit in that moment and persevere on the fact of that, I set out to be sat in a studio and performing live, that will and determination of passion continues, and I can't see it in my brain that can ever be you can't, if somebody's unstoppable in that way and it's like, I need to be heard, I feel unheard, then I'll keep going and keep going and keep going, and it scares me sometimes because I don't know how far I'll keep going with that. But now, when we go back to your question, it's like, I can ride the waves now. I've got a wonderful surfboard that gets me through every weather, and that's just a strong mindset and the perseverance to keep going and feel like I'm now putting myself into a place that's like, hey, I can remove all the brackets and just be me, because it's me that's the one that's got me through these bad storms and these hard times and got all this way, and it's me that can change everything in one song or whatever. So I have to be comfortable in myself, and that's the most important thing first.
Do you think you're a hard taskmaster on behalf of your songs or your musicianship? Like, I'm assuming that, there is a point where you feel like a song is ready, but like, is there a daily ritual which basically gets you into a place where you feel super creative, or talk about that?
Where I thought you were going at first was the idea of the perfectionism, and I think anyone watching this might be like, well, where's John Newman been for 6 years of my life, or da-da-da-da, and I think the perfectionism used to eat at me to the point where I couldn't release records. Like, I'd love them, and then somebody would have one slight, oh, what if you did this? I'd be like, no, scrap it, it's done. Like, I hate it as well now, I don't like it, and I think that's eaten at me for so long. But when we go into rituals of healing, of how I've got over that, I've taken a lot of time to I think it was like the most important thing is to know the character behind the artist, more so, like the person. And I think when you go into stardom at 20, 21, and you're bumping shoulders with the biggest celebrities and they're all DMing you and everything like that, it's so easy to get carried away and think that you are this thing, this like glorious big deal thing, and then you've got yourself only to blame at the end of it, because everyone runs off and goes and finds the next artist and moves on, and the other celebrities go and DM the other next upcomers. And
I mean, there was a little bit of that. You were going to parties, weren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. I loved the red carpet. Well good. Never drank champagne in Settle. So yeah, no, totally. And I think then you got to find yourself. So part of that for me was taking the time out, which I'd love to get into more, but like, a lot of therapy as well, actually, to find John again. And I'm so happy that I'm like sat here now, it was like, John, like, that's so nice. Like, and obviously there's a little bit of a barrier up, like there is still, if I'm looking at myself, there's a little bit of a barrier up, and I'm still being like, but this is definitely the most relaxed I've been in a long time. And I'm happy to talk about my wife, my dogs, and my child in that way. You know what I mean? Whereas before I'd be like, absolutely not. We talk about parties and celebrities.
I wonder if you learned anything from working with someone like Calvin or Rudimental. Did you learn anything from either of those two, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Calvin is an unbelievably talented human being. Like, it's as a musician, to watch somebody work in that way was completely inspiring on a daily basis. To his mindset as a person, completely inspiring, and an amazing part of my life to be a part of, seeing that, and to see the whole thing. Throughout my whole career in terms of collaborations, it's been something that's gone with heart and passion. And I think the Calvin record, Blame, I literally had my laptop and a broken little MIDI keyboard in a kitchen in the Lake District where we were spending Christmas, and kind of just threw together this idea of the melody and da-da-da-da-da, and sent it to him. And for ages it was just a voice recording off the laptop, and we kept working it. And even that mindset there, that he was able to listen through that and work on this as being a bigger thing over time, is the right mindset, and I've always followed.
In other
that.
words, to get it to the best possible place.
Yeah, there is something beautiful there. Don't just throw it in the bin. Don't just give it to an A&R that says, well, that's not a finished record. Or it was that thing that I look for in collaborating, that seeing through it as an artist and fully collaborating on it till the end, and then a story of the lyric comes in on the journey that inspired me. And then it really took a journey, and I think that's what the greatest songs do. Love Me Again was the same. It took a true journey, and I think before all of anything anyone knows of me, I worked in a pub in North London, and previously worked in a bar in Leeds, and the bar was like, can't explain it, but like a Detroit soul Coyote Ugly vibe. And I used to stand on the bar giving people free drinks, and then I moved to London and worked in a gastro pub that was a chain, and you couldn't really give free drinks out there, so that was the end of that. But at that time I was at a place where I'd met Piers' sister. We'd been introduced. This is Piers from Rudimental. He says, I just wanted to focus on my music, so I basically decided, take the P45, call it a day, work on the music, went and got housing benefit, had to go down to the job office and explain to them that I'm going to be a massive superstar every week, which you didn't understand, and just focus on music. But we were making these records through times of desperation and naivety as well, but yeah, they've got a lot of heart in there, them records. Like Not Giving In, the second single we did, was a close friend of mine and Piers' found himself in a situation where he was confronting the idea of ending his life, and I felt like I needed to write about that, and that was Not Giving In. It was actually, the first lyric was I'm giving in, and then funnily enough, through an A&R, gave some advice, was like, why don't we give a defiant feeling to it? And I was like, absolutely, actually that's the great thing to do. And yeah, and Feel the Love was Kezi from Rudimental had written that, and we worked on that, and that was kind of the starting point. But again, like, all this is going on at a time where I'm about to get hit hugely in life by a tumor in my head, which just completely changed everything. But yeah, I think where I'm going to is that all this music is a reflection of my life, and any collaboration I've done has been with purpose and need, emotionally or through a connection or whatever it is, and it's really now become a story, not just, it is my life now,
Obviously you work in the dance space, and although I would hate to put you in a box, that is sort of your space. Yeah. However, to keep out of that box, clearly soul music is important to you, right? We've talked about Sinead O'Connor, there's Whitney Houston, it sounds like we both love Prince. I've heard a cover of Angie Stone that you've done. So, where did this love of soul music come from?
Yeah, growing up in the north of England, my mum was into Northern soul music, which was obviously the B-sides coming out of Motown and Stax. And my mum was into Diana Ross and Motown in general. And when I was young, it was kind of just like Sunday morning, smell the bacon, hear Diana Ross playing. It was kind of like music that wasn't anything to me at that time apart from their music, if you know what I mean. And it was quite interesting. I went through a rough patch where when I was 16, I was studying to be a car mechanic. I always wanted to design cars and create cars. I went to mechanics school in quite a rough place, funnily enough, where I was born. And when I was at the mechanics school, again, I had a teacher that was telling me that I'd be nothing in music, like I'm never going to be good at music and da-da-da-da. And I put up with it and it was my brother had gone to Newcastle University to study music. He said, you know, why don't you just take an audition in Leeds? Just take the audition. I didn't really know whether to do it, and then my best friend Ben turned around and he said, look, like he watched me play music and he said, you've got to do this, you've got to go and do this audition. So off I went, and I couldn't afford it or anything, and luckily enough they offered me a full scholarship and to cover everything, and they said we want you here, and which was an amazing, beautiful thing. And so I was getting ready and up and left and moved into my own apartment there that my mum helped me fund and looked after. And it was about like a month after getting there, my mum calls me and says that Ben, my best friend, who told me to go and do this, has died in a car crash along with another really close friend of mine, Tom. And at 16, 17, I had no idea. Like, I'd had grief so many times before from the older generation in my family, but that was so close and really sent me in a horrific spiral where I couldn't even go to the college. I was up all night with staying awake, let's call it, all night, and just partying, to be honest, just to hide from the sheer depression of it. And all I could listen to randomly was soul music, because it gave me this feeling of comfort of my mum or my Uncle Tony or my upbringing, and reminded me of better times. So previous to this period, I'd sung songs in a different way. I produced dance music and hip hop, and everything didn't have this like rawity or whatever, or this inferno of passion in it. And then connected to this Otis Redding album, and I still can't listen to it now. Like, I cannot listen to the record. I can't listen to the songs. It still puts me in such a hard place. And I think when you've been through something like that and had this connection to this sound, it becomes why music was made in Motown, or why music is made. And that's why I struggle with today's industry, because it was made with such severity of purpose and needed to be made. And I felt every connection of that within myself. And it just changed music forever for me, where I realized that I don't need to cry physically, I can cry in music. And I think every time somebody sings, like now, like they'll send me a song and be like, hey, you sound great on this song, and it's some like EDM country song or whatever. I'm like, man, you've got no idea. Like, I would sound horrific on that song, because you would force me completely into a studio with however many thousands of pounds it cost you, and I probably wouldn't go anyway. And like, if you did manage to get me in, it'd sound awful because I have no connection to it.
What made you cover Angie Stone recently?
A funny one, we're trying to get clearance on it, but it's not working. In the same way that Otis Redding reminded me of a safer place previous to the devastating news. Yeah, I think that song gives me that feeling too. There's another one that stands out, Charles and Eddie, as well. Like, that just pops into my head.
Would I Lie to You?
Yeah. Just like, unbelievable. Yeah.
I mean, Carl Cox closed the Space. The closing of Space, his last record was the Angie Stone.
Was it really?
I didn't. Yeah, and so that's where that record stuck in my head, and that kind of brings us up to date with a segue into Ibiza, and now, which is 640Two is the latest project. First single, Something in the Water. Can you talk about where your mindset is around this stuff now? Is it? I imagine you're a bit like a boxer in that, like, you're ready to take things on, but don't let me put words in your mouth.
No, yeah, I think, so if we start from what we're kind of doing here is I think it was really important for me to be able to talk about my whole journey up until this point, the ups, the downs, where I've been, where I've not been, and all these things. And I think, yeah, but it's all led to a place where, as you're probably starting to see, I overthink things, I'm uncomfortable, I'm a perfectionist, I want everything to be the best possible. And when you've had such levels of success with the name on your passport, there's no hiding. Like, it gets in so deep and you overthink things constantly. You want to, like, you walk on the street and somebody recognizes you as that person. It's really odd, actually, if somebody just calls you out on the street by your name.
And you don't know them.
That's a weird thing, yeah. So it eats at you a lot. And I think for me, 5 years ago, where this escalated so much and was just ruining my career, I wanted to be so many different artists, you know, focusing on these people. I wasn't mixing my influences anymore like I do now. I was just focused on somebody else's success. It was a horrific place, like horrific. And I had no idea what my future was. I was so scared. I was like, I'm going to lose everything and not have any creativity. I've been living in this constant writer's block. So I decided to ring Island Records and my amazing manager closer and say, this isn't healthy anymore. I'm in a sheer desperate state of depression and not having good thoughts, and all due to this stupid thing, this commercialized thing that's just a job on steroids that's so glamorous and wonderful, and it's not anymore. And it hurts so much because it's not beautiful anymore, it's not wonderful, it's not high paying, it's not rewarding, it's just painful.
Why was it painful?
Every day was so painful. I was hurting people by ringing them and blaming it on them. That is, for somebody like me that cares about people, that is awful. Like, it hurt me every time I put the phone down. I regretted it. I was taking my blame out on everyone else, on my partner, on my dogs, on my mum, on the people that had given everything for my success. I was taking it out on them. And it's just like, it's so painful for me now to talk about. It's painful because I've been through a lot to not be in that place. But yeah, I just knew it was bad when it was leading to the wrong thoughts, that escapism was a final thought almost. And I think that was time to realize, hey, that's not John. That's not the kid that defined change and fought against people his whole life and used it as fuel, and realized that maybe he couldn't win that battle. So
the word that I use every day, and something I'm a bit obsessed with, is credibility. How important is credibility to you?
Like, that's why all of it really is, that I want to be credible, and in the way that Otis Redding was enough to take me in that time and fix me, enough that Rudimental were in that time to fix me in all these times, how I've been myself in that time to be credible and fix me or other people. And I just can't throw it out the window. And I think when commercialness comes to a point of under scrutiny, you start looking for other commerciality, you start looking for the next glitzy thing, the next shiny artist, and they might not be credible. And that's what I was doing. And I think I decided to pull the plug and go on my social media and say, hey guys, I'm out. I don't know how long this is going to take. It might take forever. But I needed to go and find the kid again, the kid that was like, let's fucking go, like, let's just do this. I couldn't find him for so long. I think I'm still finding him now. And but I found music again in a positive way, and that was a beautiful thing after about a year of getting cold water and like just like being me and just spending time with me, and found John. And when I opened my laptop, you asked me before, why dance music? I just opened my laptop and made like a 20-minute track of like instrumental dance music. And for some reason, it had the same thing that all these songs that I've had throughout my career that have woken me up, get up, go, you know, that Tyson Fury shot of the Deontay Wilder fight where it's like, open your eyes, get up and fight and go. It just had that in it, and I could feel it, and it was motivating me. But for years now, since I took in 2020, whatever it was, took time out, I actually, when I came back with that, thinking about that instrumental song, which went on to be an Alesso collab called Call Your Name, I had this idea to be somebody else, to lose the name of the passport to, and like found myself awake at night like, oh my God, like, imagine I could think creatively in a different way, feel without brackets, and it's like been there every day for me. So feels like now's the time when I feel mature enough that I can handle the waves enough. And yeah, I was like, what do I call it? And the greatest gift of my life that's come into it recently was my daughter, and I took the time she was born, and the project's called 640Two. And I feel like I've been in a Buddhist temple for 6 years or something. Like, I feel amazing. Like, it has just opened up the doors of my creativity. And I kind of knew I was this creative from when I'm switching off at night. The song ideas are so good in my head. But then wake up in the morning, have my coffee, sit in front of a studio desk, answer the emails to the people that have had success in the industry. Little do I know, all the pressure's creeping in bit by bit by bit by bit, and then the calculations start of commerciality, and it's ruined. Like, and I'm not feeling that. Everyone's like, you know, this is a stupid idea because it might not succeed. I'm like, bring it on, man. Let's stand on the mountain and feel the epic element hit you in the face. There's nowhere to hide. I'm really excited, and hopefully everyone else can see I'm started a new project. I'm not trying to disrupt anything or hurt anybody or anyone that's got history in relating to my songs. It's me just in my truest form for a bit and just enjoying it. So yeah, 640Two has been born, and it's really exciting.
That actually leads me to my next question, which I wrote. Is this rebirth, reappraisal, or homecoming?
Bit of both. Sorry, not both, everything. I've got this deep connection in there to give you an idea. My granddad gave me a Casio keyboard, and it was like bop it, twist it, or whatever he did.
Yeah.
And I set it up in my it was like an electrical cupboard this big at my mum's house. Set it up and like I keyboard, guitar, computer, and then I was like ripping off Insomnia, and I was like trying to remake cool things like that, and all this dance music that was DJing and playing with, like I'd be like singing over it. I remember like this weird version of Going Loco Down in Acapulco, and I was like trying to make that into a dance song.
Okay.
It was just taking non-genre specific things and putting them into a big mess that came out as what I think was dance music and what I could go and play at the rugby club on a Saturday night. CDs were in there, and I think that kid got derailed along the way. I think that impact of that time in Leeds and losing my friend and going so into soul music it obviously took a huge drastic impact on the influence and the way I express myself. But listen to Love Me Again and turn it into a Korg M1. If it was a 90s piano and you put a 4/4 kick on it, that's a dance song. It's a massive euphoric dance song. And so dance music's always been there in that way. My first album was really 90s dance inspired, if you listen to it. I mean, the first live session I played for Radio 1, I think it was, in Maida Vale, I covered Strikes You Sure Do. Like, and everyone was like, why is this soul artist covering Strikes You Sure Do? And you're like, because I loved, like, are you not hearing the dance in this? It was blowing my mind that it didn't sound like dance music to people, but maybe it was soul influence was strong. So, yeah. This is relatable to that child. The child that I've spent a lot of time over these recent years trying to heal. I think he's been broken for so long. He's been thinking that life is war and disaster and you've got to get up and fight and rebel. And I think I started feeling this thing recently where even the smell in the day or the environment or the weather is leading me back to my childhood, and it's leading me to happiness. And that is the best thing for me to feel, and it's making my life feel so good. And I also believe it's because this project is leading me back to that child and taking him under my arm and saying, like, I will always hear you. You are heard. And I think that is an amazing thing to feel. So yeah, I'm pleasing that kid. It's a recycle to there. It's a new beginning for some people because of the brackets. So what they thought I was, this is not that. I don't know, it's this difficult point in it where I've just been being creative and now I need to answer all the questions you've got.
I mean, the other thing that's happening is I think you're playing Mambo, maybe even tomorrow or certainly coming up.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a bunch of festivals, and you know you've been busy with that stuff, you know, for a minute. Do you enjoy that side as much as the creativity in the studio?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's completely mental. It is a mad concept that I still don't get my head around it. Thousands of people pay all that money to come and watch me, and then they also pay all that money to go and watch people that don't care whether they're there sometimes, and that hurts me to see that. So in this modern wave of music, there's a slight shallowness to the depths of artistry, and think that social media builds it up to be something bigger than it is. Then people get excited to go and film it, and like, I want to give everything, every show, and it burns me out. And after something like Exit Festival, I had the craziness to headline again this year as a dance act. Yeah, I passed out. Like there was nothing left in me. Like I completely run my body over its limit, and that's really important to me. Every time I have a tour manager that tells me, you know, like, we're just here in Poland doing a corporate show, you know, let's just get the new kitchen paid for or whatever. And then 2 minutes into the show, I'm nearly passing out, dehydrated, because I'm giving it all.
It sounds to me like you're so washed out by, or completely done with, you know, how much you've given after a show. Whereas I think in the past you could kind of get away with just doing a PA sometimes. You actually, well, it was a PA often.
Yeah.
And that's obviously not enough.
No, I think it comes from me myself. I think I could do whatever show I wanted and put in as much as I wanted, and people would never have asked for the amount that I give. But it feels a bit like my service, like my commitment. Like, I take none of this for granted, like any of it at all. Like the car I get to drive, like I couldn't have dreamed of that as a kid, or the house I get to live in. Like, the least I can do is turn up and absolutely fucking turn up.
Knock it out of the park.
I went to watch James Morrison in Leeds, and he made such a mark on me. It was the first time I'd watched a big show like this, and he gave everything. And I couldn't imagine if that first gig I went to go and watch, he was sat down and just hit play on that, and then just sat back. I'm like it was devastating. And I think that's a crazy concept when you talk about it in that way. So I literally can't do anything but give everybody my full everything, emotionally, my body, my whatever, or everything, serotonin, adrenaline, everything that I give on stage, and to do it completely challenging my talent, like completely challenging myself to the highest level, to the point where when I get off stage, I am in every way exhausted. That's me performing at my best. If I'm struggling, it means I'm up there. This is the best you're gonna get from me. And I can't imagine doing anything less.
And that's what Exit was for you this year.
It was completely that. It was, I took my mum and my brother, and it was a really proud moment. I played Exit in 2015 as a headliner, and we haven't really spoke about it, but the transition into being a DJ has completely fueled that kid in the strong way as well, because people laugh at the idea. It's completely stupid, actually. that's a stupid idea for somebody to do that. You can't change the brackets, you can't change genre, you can't change your identity. That's all I know you as, that's easy for me. You'll sell records doing it like that. And I'm like, yeah, but worth giving it a go, innit? And yeah, Exit felt like a big one that the guys running the festival were like, do you know what actually happened? Because I personally, which I've done with a lot of this, I don't really, throughout all this rebuild, I've had various management. I've done so much of this myself and gone up the ladder and up the ladder and up the ladder and been laughed at the whole way. Like, if anyone's noticed, like, this is weird. And the set's not been in the place it needed to be so many times, and people have not understood it. And then this year, it felt like, whoa, okay, this is getting quite serious. Like, people, from outsiders' perspective, I think they're starting to notice now. And I know him so well that I can speak freely about him, that this is a crazy one, is that even my old A&R that I made Love Me Again with, that was so up for making Love Me Again, and I say this with all love and respect, of course, we're now working back together because it came to his attention that this is big now. And it was that was again another proud moment that we said earlier about, like, acceptance. This feels like acceptance to me, I think. Where
also, it's nice when things come back round to you rather than to.
Because I've done that so much in my life. I've been the hunter for so much of my life. There's nothing better to feel hunted. Like, it's so nice. Yeah.
The only other thing that I think we should talk about, because it's come up when we've chatted before, is I can't imagine you ever taking early retirement.
I think my wife's the one to ring and speak to. I'll say no comment on that one.
You're always going to be a creator, though, aren't you?
She did say to me the other day, she said, we were watching homes, what's it called, like Sun Sea Selling Houses, and there was a couple going to retire and they wanted a house out in the Spanish countryside so they could do some gardening and stuff like that. And I was sat there thinking, no, it'd be lovely, wouldn't it? And then she turns around and she says, you're not going to do that. I was like, nah, I don't know how I'm going to do that. And I do it now. Like, I go out, I love going out in the garden. I making pizzas at home and making the dough and these little, like, grounding things, like, I love doing for 15 minutes and then causing absolute devastation by doing something. I'll go and rip a wall out somewhere instead. It's more destructive and needs me more than nurturing something. No, and I just think I'm like, I can't sit down for 2 minutes. I'm itching all the time on a Sunday afternoon. I so want to ring my managers and my label and be like, what are we doing? It's Sunday, John, we're not working. Yes, we should be.
The one day off.
One day.
Only one day of it.
I always remember, actually, it was Christmas in like just before I launched my first campaign. I thought, I'm going to send my manager the new songs on Christmas Day, just to check. I got no reply, but at least I had that in the can to be like, you didn't reply to the new songs. He used to call me Hurricane, that's what he called me, I've just remembered.
I think that's fair, yeah. Well, look, you've got a very exciting time ahead of you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm generally excited to start something fresh, something new, and to give this first record to people is really exciting. It's a mix of soul music and dance and it's just passion, and hopefully you can hear that from everything I've said. It's been such a part of my musical life, and I'm just putting it into this next record and everything that's to come, and to show what I can do without the brackets and the being in a cage is really, really exciting, and feels weird sitting here. I guess I am John, but I'm not. It'd be weird if you called me Six. Don't do that. But 640Two is, to sit there as a different artist is amazing as a name, but obviously it's all the passion of me and this whole story we spoke about and everything I've done. So I'm really excited.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.